the internet. A beautiful place, filled with light, love, laughter, and unrestrained, unrelenting tidal waves of pure undiluted stupidity. The latter of which will be the primary focus of today's video as I introduce you to the Templin Institute, who has a particularly poor take for all of us today. So, a little bit of backstory. The Templin Institute is apparently a very large law channel, which covers absolutely everything and anything, from 40k to Star Wars to movie law, and it does so primarily, or so I've been told by about 24 people at this point, by reading the Wikipedia page of the currently afflicted phantom. Now, that is a remarkably uncharitable interpretation of any serious law channel, but the sheer uniformity of the accusations, it's, well, I'll let you decide on that account, I do suppose, because, well, I can neither confirm nor deny the validity of the accusations, as frankly, I have better things to do with my life than watch that kind of law video. But, anywho, the Templin Institute decided to post the following on Twitter. The argument that there can't be female space marines, oh good, it's this time of year again, because it violates established law or canon or whatever, fantastic start, we'll get back to that, is not only completely asinine, but reflects a total misunderstanding of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Oh, well, Jesus, okay. I thought I had a reasonable understanding of 40k, frankly, but clearly, this is a major lore channel here, right? He must have something pretty damn good up his sleeve, and he's damn confident too. Feel free to argue with me so I can destroy you and incorporate your arguments into a video that will also destroy you yet further. Holy shit. The guy's got he must have the nuclear bomb of argumentations that will finally settle the female space marine question once and for all. After its specters have haunted us for the last 2 decades, I half welcome it, frankly. So, what is this mind-blowing, innovative, remarkable, revolutionary argument that will blow us all away and prove that I and everybody else simply just didn't understand 40k all along? Well, unless your argument is that 40k doesn't have a set universe. Yep, that's my main argument. There is no objective truth in 40k. Oh god. Oh, actual Jesus Christ. It's that argument. Okay, at least, okay, here's the thing. I've got some respect for the people who bring up that magazine, that fantasy magazine, the American one with the Sunriders or Sunstriders. What was it? The female space marines. That one, because that one does exist. It was a magazine making a fan piece, essentially, of GW's entity, or more like Rogue Trader, frankly, all the way back then, and being like, hey, female space marines, because they didn't know any better. People bring that up and go like, that's evidence, then people need to hit them with the actual article and go like, no, that was actually made in this magazine. Or the people who bring up the apparent sister models on that sprue from Absolute ages ago. At least these people have done their research. What is this? It's just like... Listen, okay, I don't believe in the lore, plus, look, I've got an example here and everything. You've got Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau here from Rogue Trader. Clearly, this is a very silly and stupid universe. From Rogue Trader, mind you. Not from 40k, Rogue Trader, the universe that came before 40k. Jesus, again, at least the other people, asinine though they may be, have an argument. They've done some research. This guy's entire argument is literally that there is no argument. You can't base anything on anything, which is a particularly spicy take, coming from someone whose career is supposedly making lore videos on that universe. It's like, yes, I know nothing matters, but I'm gonna make lore videos on it. How the hell do you decide what to do? Oh, well, excuse me. You read the Wikipedia. I guess that's good enough. And it continues on. The whole point of 40k is that it is not and can never be a neatly woven net of stories and coherent universes. Except for Cypher's Kane, God's Ghost, the Space Wolves trilogy, the Ultramarines books, or the Horus Goddamn Heresy. Of course it can be. Just because every single instant of every single minute of every single dude in every single planet in the universe is not actually accounted for, doesn't mean that there isn't a coherent, overarching universe. Not to mention, of course, the setting itself is a thing that exists. The idea that 40k has a straight canon is fundamentally untrue. Every bit of information we have, every slice of text, every image, every piece of footage, everything is coming from a source that is biased, misinformed, or outright lying. What he's citing here is the unreliable narrator excuse that GW came up with when they were repeatedly called out for breaking and violating their own canon, with, for example, C.S. Lewis being a beautiful example of this, where the Space Marines were wandering around with multi-lasers. And GW decided, well, we could try to actually enforce our canon, or we could simply say that everything is canon and then cop out of it. Literally, he is using the company's excuse for not caring enough to justify his position. And then he goes on, of course, Warhammer is political, he says. Gazgul Magoruk Thraka is named after Margaret Thatcher. That has been debunked so many times by the literal author himself who invented the character and get this one. The Tau were meant to satirize the disconnect between the war in Iraq and the general American public. Like, it's... oh god. It's so stupid. The Tau were released in 2001, and I guess GW was psychic, and they were like, America is going to invade Iraq in 2 more years in 2003, and it's going to be a very long conflict. And the Tau will symbolize that shit. My god, dude, you are a legit moron. I'm sorry to say it, but you are. And of course, all of this confidence evaporated immediately. Because I waited on this, and then the Templin Institute tucked his legs up to his chest, got into a corner, laid down, began to cry violently, and then, after having worked up enough courage, went back to the keyboard, blocked me, and then started replying to me. Not even with good insults. Just this shit. And bearing in mind too, he blocked me first, so that I couldn't even see this tame ass shit. Like, holy, my dude. I don't actually have the words to describe what an absolute earthworm you are. An absolute chicken shit. Like, what, you've been on Twitter for how many years? Like, my Twitter account is basically new. I started using that a couple months ago. I've got a measly 6,000 followers odd. You must be absolutely enormous compared to me. I can't check because you blocked my ass, you fucking coward. But, come on, after years of crushing censorship and the obvious stuff that we've seen Twitter reveal, now you should be massive, and you're afraid of me? Hell, he even brings up like, oh, you've been blacklisted by corporations. Yes, and I wear every last single one of them as a mark of honor, I do. Because that means, me, I'm dangerous. I am a threat to the wokist, to the corporations, to the political agenda. People are afraid of my ass, as you very well demonstrated there, Mr. Templin. And, of course, it isn't just me either. He was issued challenges like, okay, right, come on, debate me, big bro. Like, you've got an argument, right? Well, he doesn't, but he then simply said, no, he's not gonna debate this. He's not gonna argue with anybody because, well, they'd probably bend him over a couch and, take away his anal virginity repeatedly in front of a lot of people. You wouldn't want to do that. I certainly would never invite him to debate me on my Twitch channel or YouTube channel. I've worked hard to become a partner on both. Oh my god, my partner status. And I can't think of a dumber idea than using my reach to platform whoever disagrees with me. Oh god. It's like, oh well, I'm too big and powerful now to speak to the plebs who might disagree with my idiotic takes. That'd be terrible. Here's the thing. You know what the first thing I did when I was noticed that I started to actually blow up on YouTube? I started inviting on smaller channels, specifically to spotlight those channels. Now, it turned out that those people weren't exactly, or more correctly, they were what we would refer to as fair weather friends. But hey, I did it because I figured, hey, YouTube is pretty cool, let's try and share the love around. I even do it to this day on the ArchCast, but I invite on guests to come and talk about shit and give them some exposure as well. But, you know, some people have that point of view, others have this point of view. And, right, let me just settle the argument too. But just once and for all, right? Because his entire argument is that the canon doesn't exist. Alright, you're a lore channel. Frankly, I could just leave it there, but obviously, to have a universe, to have a setting, to have lore, to have anything of substance, you must have a fundament. The lore is that fundament. Everything else is constructed on top of it. The Space Marines would not be Space Marines without that fundament. They would simply be derpy little Robert E. Heinlein rip-off figurines played with some kind of dice rolly gamey thing. Nobody would care. Like, a war game without a setting, without a theme, without something greater than it is boring as hell. 40k would never have been a success, nor would Warhammer have been, if it didn't have a setting. And as for the unreliable narrator excuse, it is literally an excuse made up by GW themselves to excuse their own idiocy, their own retardations and incapabilities to hold their authors in a tight, bloody leash. It is not an excuse. And, of course, the biggest point of all is that this is not about female Space Marines, because you've already got female Space Marines. They're called the Sisters of Battle. They do absolutely everything that a female Space Marine would do, but even better and cooler and more uniquely, frankly. The only thing that female Space Marines would do is, 1, it would marginalize the Sisters of Battle, and 2, more importantly, and the real goal of all of this, what it's actually about, it will send an unequivocal, unquestionable signal from GW that they have surrendered, that they are now an entity of the wokist left, because they have decided to place the agenda and the demands of the wokists above the story, above the universe. They have declared that the politics is their greater good, and that is the only reason why the female Space Marine issue reappears every single damn solitary year, sometimes multiple times, and then they get slapped down, they cry, they go back to their holes, and they try again. Or maybe I'm being too charitable here. I might be giving the Templin Institute too much credit to think that they have an actual point with all of this. It might simply be something more along the lines of this. I'll be putting out a video on Thursday related to this discussion. If he or anyone else wants to leave a comment, the guy who challenged him, that is, telling me how I'm wrong, I'll do my best to respond as I do with every video. And then, finally, thus concludes our participation in the Great Female Space Marine Twitter War of 2023. Or participation, more like shot fired, retreat, surrender, block, hide in corner, but wars can be fought in many ways, I guess. If you'd like to really stick it to those leftist woke moralists over at the Templin Institute, why not force them to participate in capitalism by pledging to their Patreon? I'll teach them. My god. It's like, yes, you do have to admire the lack of shame and grifting in this. So, apparently, all of this was a desperate attempt to get some views and get some engagement on a video to be made that is not going to have an argument other than that there is no argument because there is no setting, there is no lore from a lore channel. It's brain dead. It is actually, genuinely brain dead. I mean, this is actually an excellent example of what we talked about yesterday. Rage bait does apparently exist, but it looks a hell of a lot more like this. If anything, the previous position that there is no such thing as lore is what produces Welma in the first place, where you've got Indian self-insert Welma, with a family who has a mother whose baby is pushing its way out of her womb to take selfies. Oh, good gracious God. This is just tragic. Actually tragic, and I don't think it's gonna work out, my dude. Like, you've got yourself a lot of attention, congratulations, but somehow I doubt it was particularly positive. Now, on the other hand, I would like to thank you personally, because you gave me another at least 500, 600 Twitter followers due to this. Which I do need, because after years of suppression, I kind of got some catching up to do here, and, you know, video fodder as well, and god damn it. It's just, it is difficult to fully comprehend, isn't it? It's like, okay, you've got a waterproof, you've misunderstood 40k all this time. Oh, all right, Jesus Christ, Mr. Templin, tell me why. Well, it's because there is no such thing as 40k. It doesn't exist. It's just from a lore channel. I think this lends yet further credence to the idea that their main source of lore is indeed the Wikipedia page of whatever fandom is currently involved. And then, just as the cherry on top, the cowardly ass shit of blocking, then responding. Oh god. And you want to talk about asinine? Okay. Here's what's asinine. What is the really worst thing is you go into a setting, you claim to be a part of it, you pretend to be a part of it, and then you go, actually, nothing exists, nothing is real, nothing you care about has any value whatsoever, and so I can just make whatever the stuff I want up. I can enforce whatever nonsense I want upon your setting, because, well, I don't care. There is a lack of respect, and then there is actual active aggression and assholishness, apparently for the hope of getting a few Patreon bucks. God, man. You are a disgrace. Seriously. I don't use that word lightly. Like, even most of the wokists are merely shit at their jobs. They are merely pushing an agenda. At least they have the excuse of trying to fight for something, evil and stupid though it may be, that they believe in. Whereas you, oh god. Okay, the reason why you haven't been blacklisted by anyone is because you're not dangerous. You can't offend anyone. You are vanilla. You are dirt. Nobody would ever take you seriously enough to blacklist you, my dude. And that you can quote me on. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and thank you, Templin, for this brilliant little video material you've given me. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. Have a good day.